Hey everybody, Ryan Dohrn here. Thanks so much, and welcome to the Internet Zone, where we answer your questions you send in to us. Feel free to send questions anytime. Simply send them to ryan@brainswellmedia.com. I'm happy to answer those questions here for you. All right, I got a question here from Brian Bates, and Brian is from the Dallas area. I have a lot of good customers in Dallas. Love to visit the Dallas-Fort Worth area. The question is, I'm looking to buy new computers and new systems for my office, and the big question has come up, Mac versus PC. Wow, that's a question, and I'm sure going to get a lot of email and maybe even some hate mail about that question, but thanks so much for submitting it. Here's what I found based on some best practices working across the country. If you have a firm, if your company is very heavy into design, you're heavy into video, and you're doing a lot of multimedia, I highly recommend the Mac platforms. You can go to your local Apple store, talk to a business representative there, and they'll be able to really tell you all the great benefits of the Mac enterprise and what it can do for you. Most companies in the media business, a lot of folks are using Macs. A couple things about the Macs that I really like, I'm a Mac user as well, is that overall they're not susceptible to viruses, and also they tend to last a lot longer. I've had my MacBook Pro going on almost 4 years, and I've had only one minor issue with it. Why is that? You know, a lot of the parts and the components are just different. They're built differently, and they're also built in such a way that they don't have to worry about a low price point. Now granted, Apples do need to be competitive, and the Macintosh computers do have to be competitive, but the thing to remember is they're built to a different standard than most PCs. They're typically built to be, in most cases, as cheap as possible. Now, let's talk about the benefits of PCs in your enterprise. PCs, you're going to be able to get a lot of machines up and running at a very affordable price. And so when you actually go through the whole process of laying out your IT infrastructure, you're more than likely going to find your startup costs in the beginning going with PC-based enterprises are going to be a lot cheaper. One of the things to remember, though, is you are going to have to replace a lot of those PCs every 2 to 3 years. Now, again, before you send me a bunch of email, all you technical people, there's a lot of things to consider when running a business. Another piece of that is software. Typically, you're going to find software for PCs to be cheaper than what you're going to find for most Macs. It just kind of depends upon the software. And it just also, remember, I'm a Mac guy, so it just kind of depends upon the software. Also, you're also going to find that enterprise licensing in the PC space is typically a little bit easier. You're also going to find that most PCs interface perfectly with nearly every router, with every peripheral, with every piece of server equipment, enterprise setup software. Now, the Mac folks are going to call me and say, hey, so does ours. Well, it does, and actually I like the way that my Mac performs when I'm on the road. Overall, the reason you see a lot more PCs in the workforce is from a capital expenditure perspective. They're just cheaper. Now, I would point out that I think you need to meet with an internet consultant. I think you need to meet with an IT professional and need to get some advice. One of the things I found over my career is that I tended to ask for advice from the people that worked for me, and they weren't necessarily the most, shall we say, objective people to in the entire space, because they really wanted the platforms that they preferred. Now, keep in mind, I do know a lot of businesses that are all Mac, and they're very happy. I know a lot of businesses that are all PC, and they're very happy. I know a lot of businesses that have a blending of both, and they're very happy as well. I think it's going to come down to cost, and it's also going to come down to your replacement, but more than anything, it's going to come down to your workflow. And that's one of the things I really want to emphasize. You want to meet with an internet consulting firm, and you want to sit down and figure out your workflow. What's going to make your people more efficient? What's going to make your people more happy? In the end, what's going to make everybody more productive? Because the more productive they are, in most cases, that's going to give you a nice return on your investment. Mac versus PC is not something we can really adequately cover in 2.5 minutes, but I hope this will give you a little bit of information that you can use as you begin to make your decision. I'd love to work for you. I'd love to be able to give you more information. I'm Ryan Dohrn. I'm an internet consultant. I've been doing this since 1996. I didn't invent the internet, but pretty darn close, I feel, some days. Anyway, feel free to reach out to me, send me your questions, ryan@brainswellmedia.com. I'd love to take care of you and help you out. Until next time, send your questions in and we'll get them answered. We'll see you right here in the Internet Zone. Take care.